Hello people. We have an Occupy rally coming up in our hometown this weekend, and I thought it was sort of interesting. Now what they do is advertise a wide variety of speakers. I'm wondering if they're all going to be there, but it looks pretty interesting if the promise is fulfilled with the speakers. David Harswick, a former American history and multicultural studies teacher at Green Bay Preble High School, and he is the Wisconsin Education Council Secretary Treasurer as of mid-2010. His treasurer role has Harswick overseeing and acting as steward of the finances of close to 100,000 members of the statewide union of educators. And what's interesting is that Harswick's wife, Mary Beth, is also a speech and language pathologist, works with autism, adults and children with autism. Another guest is attorney Jim Mueller. You see him there. I'm not sure what he's got in his mouth there. Let's see, what is that? I'm not sure. It says when 6th District Congressman Bill Steiger died in 1978, Jim Mueller worked on a massive effort to get Gary Goicke elected. In a special election, Gary got 49% of the vote. Tom Petri still holds that seat 32 years later. Most of the Democrats, independents, and third-party supporters in the 6th Congressional District have never been represented by a person of their own choosing. According to Jim Mueller, we can come up with a better game, so he's going to talk about it. I assume Tom Petri won't be there, I wouldn't think. But we have Petri. What they're going to argue is we have Petri because we don't have anything better. We haven't woken up. I was reading part of a book by Al Gore called The Assault on Reason, and where he was talking about how the right depends on people not getting engaged and involved in order to win votes. But if the people were really engaged, we'd have much more of a connected democracy where some of the Republican ideas would not even begin to fly. Some of the business corruption, tax cut issues, and anti-environmental would never fly. So I would think Mueller would talk about that too, about how if people are engaged, how the process of politics would change dramatically. Some other speakers, Power of the People speaker for Recall Walker. There'll be Recall Walker people there. One of the more interesting speakers would be David Sumas, who's No War with Iran, big on No War with Iran from Veterans for Peace, a board member of Veterans for Peace, Chapter 25 in Madison, chairman of Drone and Robotics Working Group, National Veterans for Peace, 14-year military veteran, one tour of Vietnam, longtime peace activist since the Vietnam War, member of Madison Area Peace Coalition. So he'll be interesting. Hopefully he'll be talking to Fond du Lac, to conservative Fond du Lac. That'll be interesting. I wonder if there'll be any anti-protesters there too, with the main line protesting the status quo and pro-Walker people. Environmental speaker Barbara With also apparently is going to be there. She's worked on campaigns against mining since the 90s at least. Guest speaker Brian Pfeiffer, longtime progressive activist and independent journalist, has his own website, WIBailoutPeople.org. Progressive organizations, an organization that fights poverty, racism, and war, currently, in the battlefields of equality. Bring the Troops Home Now is a sign that he's carrying there. So it's a progressive group that fights racism, poverty, and war, currently waging campaigns for federal jobs program and a moratorium on foreclosures and evictions. I'm not sure quite how you do that, but if a moratorium on evictions, there's certain logical reasons for evictions, so I don't know how you can just ban them. But I'm sure he'll explain it. So this is May 5th in Fond du Lac at Veterans Memorial Park. should be interesting, even if you don't completely agree with this. It would be an interesting cultural phenomenon. I'm trying to encourage my son to go, but I think he's afraid it's going to be a bunch of people over the top and kind of bad. But I think just looking at it as an interesting thing to watch, no matter what your viewpoint is. And I tend to side with many of the issues, but it's the way they're portrayed. Sometimes there is overreactions going on. So it's 12 to 9 p.m. at Veterans Memorial Park in Fond du Lac, right along Main Street there. I'm sure we'll get substantial media coverage, you would think, and I'm curious to see what the turnout will be. So mark your calendars this Saturday in Fond du Lac. Big time protests coming to a small town. Over and out.